Oba Akitoye of Lagos was a man of vision and courage, a leader whose heart beat for his people despite the challenges he faced from both within and without his kingdom. In the bustling kingdom of Lagos, nestled along the West African coast, the early 19th century was a time of great change. The Atlantic slave trade, which had brought wealth to some and misery to many, was slowly grinding to a halt. The British Empire, seeking to abolish the trade, turned its eyes toward Lagos, a significant port for the export of human lives. Akitoye, a younger prince of the ruling family, had long felt the weight of this immoral trade. His father, Oba Osinleken, had participated in it, and it had divided the kingdom. Factions arose, some loyal to the traditional ways of commerce, and others, like Akitoye, who sought a new path. When his brother Oba Oliowo ascended the throne, the tension only deepened. After Oliowo's death, Akitoye became king, but the opposition was fierce. Akitoye knew the power of the slave traders, both within his kingdom and among European merchants. But he also knew the winds of change were blowing across the seas. He dared to take a bold step. He declared an end to the slave trade within his realm. It was a decision that would cost him dearly. The ruling elite, whose wealth depended on slavery, rose against him. His nephew Kosoko, a fierce warrior with ties to the traders, led the rebellion. Akitoye was ousted from the throne, forced into exile, and watched from the shores as Kosoko ascended in his place, but Akitoye was not a man to give up easily. He sought help, not from the traditional allies of his kingdom, but from the very British forces that had begun to patrol the seas against the slave trade. Akitoye sailed to the British fortress on the island of Fernandopo, pleading his case. He struck a deal. In exchange for British military support, he promised to end the slave trade in Lagos once and for all. In December 1851, the British, under Commander Beecroft, attacked Lagos. For days, the cannons thundered and the sky was thick with smoke. Kosoko's forces fought fiercely, but they were no match for the British naval power. By January 1852, Akitoye was restored to the throne, though not as an absolute monarch, but under the influence of British imperial interest. With his return to power, Akitoye kept his word. He signed a treaty with the British, officially abolishing the slave trade in Lagos. But the peace was fragile. Many of his people, especially those who had grown rich from the trade, resented him. And while the British spoke of justice, their eyes were already on the greater prize, control over Lagos as a strategic port. Akitoye ruled for a few more years, his reign a balancing act between old traditions and new realities. He died in 1853, having planted the seeds of change, but also leaving behind a kingdom that will soon be absorbed into the expanding British Empire. His legacy is one of courage and foresight, a man who, though caught between forces greater than himself, chose to stand on the side of justice, even when it cost him his crown. Oba Akitoye's story is a reminder that true leadership often means standing alone, fighting for what is right, even when the odds seem insurmountable.